Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters on the Sega Genesis, that's who. The Ghostbusters game on the Sega Genesis is one that, honestly, I love it so much. I actually created a video years ago with my buddy Brian, who I grew up with and who's in the My Retro Life series. I made this video with him on an older incarnation of this channel, and there's an entire retrospective video we did on the Sega Genesis Ghostbusters game back when the channel was branded as Sega Channel, a series that I did. And honestly, I'd like to take this time to re-release that video. And I know there's a lot of you out there who have not seen it, who weren't following the channel back in those days. And hey, I really hope you enjoy it. This is for you Ghostbusters fans. This is for the people that love the franchise and love the Sega Genesis game as much as I do. Here we go. Check it out. Kids growing up in the 80s and early 90s had their share of Saturday morning icons, but none as paranormally popular as the Ghostbusters. With 2 movies, a cartoon series, and a never-ending line of toys, it was undeniably a Ghostbusters generation.
Ghostbusters, I think, it's always been a big part of my life, especially when I was a young kid. I remember growing up being like, I don't know, I must have been like 4 or 5, maybe even 3, and just playing with the Ghostbusters toys, watching the movies, watching the cartoon show.
I was just obsessed. I mean, there was a while where it was just, before Ninja Turtles, really, it was Ghostbusters. And I had the toys.
Ghostbusters car? Wow!
I had the Ghostbusters 2 cassette with Bobby Brown on it. I mean, this is insanity.
You had all these different types of ghosts, and the busting equipment was so awesome. You know, they had the proton packs, the traps, the Ghostbusters hearse. I mean, the thing was awesome. Hanging out with Tyler, we were kids, and we were like, why can't we have a great Ghostbusters game? You know, we got awesome Ninja Turtles games. We got Mario, we got Sonic, yada yada. How come there's not a good Ghostbusters game?
Unfortunately, Ghostbusters fans spent many years with only one Ghostbusters video game, the often ridiculed 1984 original.
We would play the one on NES and we were just disgusted. We didn't know what to do. The game was incredibly hard. It was vague.
The Master System Ghostbusters game was actually one of the first games I ever played.
It wasn't a game that was friendly to children. And even growing up, it's still an awful game.
It was a game that I would play and like fiddle with and not know what I was doing, but I played it because it was Ghostbusters. Hoping to fill the Ghostbusting void, Sega set out to release an all-new Ghostbusters title. Released in 1990, a year after Ghostbusters 2 hit theaters, the game was an early Sega Genesis hit.
The Genesis version, I know, me personally, I thought that was like the first true Ghostbusters game.
Genesis brings you the 16-bit arcade challenge with Ghostbusters.
The Sega Genesis version of the game took a completely different approach to the gameplay, the graphics, the visuals, even the storyline was a completely new storyline. It was not based on the Ghostbusters movie.
The Ghostbusters are going on these cases and they're collecting these tablets. So I guess they're like pieces of a tablet or a map. And it leads them to this new evil. Jana, what is she, the mistress of the world of darkness or something?
In 1990, the Sega Genesis was a year old at this point. And Sega was getting some interesting licenses. They had the Spider-Man license, they had Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, and they got Ghostbusters. Sega thought, hey, this is still a great license, let's do something with it. And so they actually had the developers over at Compile develop the game. Compile is best known for their shooters, the Power Strike and Musha Robo Aleste series. Because of that, the game takes a very action-oriented tone. It's very fast-paced platforming action, weapons, almost Japanese in certain areas. It feels kind of anime-like. It really almost feels like a real Ghostbusters episode that you're playing through.
It resembled the actual cartoon and movies. It had unique enemies, unique bosses.
In each stage, there are mini-bosses that you have to find and destroy before you can attack and fight the final boss of that stage. I think what I love most about these bosses is just how creative they are. They're so well designed and really spooky, really kind of creepy in many aspects.
There's like a female spook or a ghost, and she looks like the possessed Dana Barrett from the first movie. And as a kid, I always thought that was Dana Barrett. And I think Tyler did too. I think we were playing the game together and be like, oh, look, it's Dana Barrett.
We just assumed that was Dana Barrett because in the movie she's all possessed like that and looks kind of like that.
The flowing dress or
and
robe
the hair,
or whatever.
yeah.
It really fit.
There's the evil snowman guy who, I mean, just that concept alone, an evil ghost snowman. I mean, he resembles Frosty the Snowman in his appearance, but he's evil. He's got all these other snowman henchmen, and he just looks grotesque. And then there's also that first stage boss, which is kind of iconic for this Genesis game. It's that ghost magician that has the phantom rabbit that comes out of its hat. Just the look on that rabbit's face. I mean, it looks like a rabid chihuahua. It doesn't even look like a rabbit. And it's got this like knife and fork in its hand, and it's like gonna eat you or something. It's like, where did they dream this up? And of course, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
The one that always sticks out in my mind is the level where, I think it's the skyscraper or the hotel, where the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is in the background the whole time.
Making him one of the main bosses in the game was a brilliant move by Sega and Compile. I mean, he's one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic characters in the Ghostbusters franchise. And every game before this had gotten it wrong. Nobody gave you the ability to fight the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I mean, there was nothing cooler as a fan of Ghostbusters than playing that tower level, and as you progress through it, you see the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man through the window, peering in on you.
He's punching through the walls, and he's looking at you through the window.
It was like foreboding, and it was like you questioned, you wondered to yourself, am I going to be able to fight him? Can I fight him at the end?
So he's got like this presence throughout the whole level. And you beat the mini bosses, and you finally face him at the top of the tower, and I thought that was beautiful, especially because he's full sized. He's not like a Marshmallow Man who's only 8 foot tall. He's actually the full like building sized Marshmallow Man. Now, while I did think that the Genesis game was the best Ghostbusters game we had back then, it did have some shortcomings.
A lot of the game doesn't feel like Ghostbusters.
The first level is some lady's house, and it doesn't look like a house at all. There's no furniture. It's like 10 stories high, and there's platforms. Like, who has a house like this? Like, she has worse problems than ghosts.
I mean, that whole level in the fire, that, I don't know what that is. That feels more like a level out of Mega Man 2. It's like Heat Man stage. It's like, what's going on here? When you beat a level, it shows a newspaper and it says the Sega News, and it like shows you that the Ghostbusters bust the 17th Street spook.
But it does call them ghost cops.
Yeah, oh yeah, ghost cops.
Ghost cops.
Why did they get? I mean, ghost cops. They never even referenced as ghost cops in the whole series.
Never.
Call the professionals. Ghost Stoppers.
There's dialogue in the game before each mission, and they go talk to the people who are being haunted. And they have generic dialogue, and it's just like, we're the Ghostbusters, we're gonna save you, or something, something really bland and generic. There's no witty dialogue. It's like they didn't even try to write the same way that the characters would be written in the show or the movies.
Ghost cops, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they bust you?
Call the professionals. Ghost Blasters.
I think one thing that's worth pointing out is that Winston always gets snubbed in these side projects, I guess. He's in the cartoon show, he's in the first 2 movies. In this Genesis game, there's no mention of the guy. He's not, hanging out at the Ghostbusters HQ. And Winston's just gone. And it seems like he gets this treatment often. He's not taking phone calls and Janine's on vacation or something. There's just no explanation.
Did you know? In 1989, Sega's Laser Ghost hit arcades. The game is often considered a blatant Ghostbusters ripoff, and it's easy to see why. With games like this and Alien Storm, it's quite obvious. Sega loved Ghostbusters.
When I was 5 years old in 1991, my house was burglarized. The burglars stole almost everything, including what was so valuable to a 5-year-old, my Nintendo Entertainment System. I was a wreck. As a 5-year-old, I could not be contained, I could not be consoled. My parents, as a result, decided they had to replace it. But my dad, he knew better. He knew about the Genesis. So he approached me in the store and he said to me, "You sure you want a Nintendo again?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I want a Nintendo." Then he said to me, "Why not the Sega Genesis? This is more powerful. This is a newer machine." And I said, no, I looked at the graphics. I saw some of the boxes. It just didn't appeal to me. And he was very smart. He walked me over to the kiosk that was playing the Sega Genesis games, a videotape rolling all of these different Genesis games. And suddenly the Ghostbusters game flashed on the screen. And my eyes probably lit up. I can't remember, but I know for a fact I was in awe. And he said, "You could have this Ghostbusters game if you get the Sega Genesis." And well, that was all she wrote. It's all I needed to see.
Time has been kind to Ghostbusters on the Genesis. It may no longer be considered the best Ghostbusters game out there, but in 1990, it was truly a fan favorite.
The Sega Genesis Ghostbusters game, for the longest time, and really to this day, is my favorite Ghostbusters video game.
The Genesis version overall, that's the one I remember playing as a kid. I had the one on NES. I hated that one. And having that Genesis game or playing that Genesis game, it felt like I was getting to play a Ghostbusters game.
This is the game that we all wanted for so long, and we had to sit through years of that crappy Nintendo version, and even the Sega Master System version was subpar.
For the longest time, I think that was the only viable Ghostbusters game we had, and that's what I'll remember it as. It was the Ghostbusters game I would go to and play on my Genesis when I wanted that fix for ghostbusting.
Did you like that? Did you enjoy that retrospective look at the Sega Genesis Ghostbusters game? Man, I still love this game. It's playing in the background right now, and you're just looking at the footage through the viewfinder of my camera. It's making me want to play the game because it's great. It's something I did not bring up in that video that I did years and years ago. Ghostbusters on the Sega Genesis is really one of the very first Metroidvania style games that I ever played. Each stage of the game is like this self-contained Metroidvania style, exploratory adventure map that you have to explore the house and find the ghosts and find the items, and it's very, very much in the same vein as a Metroidvania, no pun intended, and I absolutely adore it. That's one of my favorite genres of all time, and for it to be a Ghostbusters game and really explore further in the world of Ghostbusters, it just added to the lore. There's the new Ghostbusters Afterlife movie coming out in a few weeks, less than 2 weeks, and I am so excited for this film. I hope you guys are too. Let me know in the comments below if you are excited for the new Ghostbusters movie, and if you've played the Sega Genesis Ghostbusters game. I'd love to hear what you think about it, and if you have any memories with it, definitely let us know. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I'll catch you next time.